Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Walaikum assalam, ma'am.
Okay, we'll start with the third poem today, Climate Change. Page number, if you have the textbooks with you, it's page number 97. Now, the poem Climate Change was written by Julia Melnikova. She's a social activist and works for so many NGOs. And she's trying her best to see that the pollution somehow comes under control. Now, the poem Climate Change presents a complex problem that we are all facing now. Now, climate change or pollution is not a new thing for us. We all know the repercussions of pollution. We all know the consequences. We all know the causes also. So, she's once again trying to bring our attention towards that problem. The poem has 5 stanzas of 4 lines each. The seriousness of the situation is clearly projected beyond doubt. The reasons, such as increasing emissions, are also established. That means in stanza 1, she talks about the seriousness of the problem. Then she talks about the reasons. Then talks about the consequences. And finally, she also suggests a solution. That means, you see, it is almost, the entire circle completed. Sometimes it so happens that we are aware of the problem. We know what the problem is. Sometimes we are not even aware of the problem. We are only aware, we only know that something is going wrong. Something is wrong. मुझे कुछ हो रहा है, मुझे पता नहीं, I'm not feeling well. This is the most common phrase we use, na? I'm not feeling well. But that feeling well is a very vague expression. Feeling well in what way? Not feeling well emotionally, not feeling well physically. And if you're not feeling well physically, then so so it happens that we are not able to identify the problem. We are not able to say, okay, what is wrong with us? I have a tummy upset, a digestion problem, or I have acidity, or anything, for example. Because if you know precisely what your problem is, then you will also focus on the reason for that problem. Why did I have a tummy upset, or why did I have acidity problem, hyperacidity problem? Maybe because I ate something, something wrong from outside, or I ate something too spicy. Then when you know the reason, you try to, and you're seeing the consequences now. And so you try to find a solution. Go to a doctor, take some medicine. And that way your problem will be solved. That's exactly what she's doing in this poem. She's first trying to show us the problem. Agar problem hi aapko malum nahi hai, so how will you know the reason for the problem? How will you know the solution to the problem. So the most important thing is to identify the problem first, and that is what a doctor does. You go, and why do you pay such a huge fees to a doctor? The so-called consultation fees. So many of you future doctors here, all the junior AIMS boys. Now, tomorrow, why will you charge consultation fees to your patients? That consultation fees is actually to let your patient know what the problem is. The patient comes and says, I have a pain here, I have a feeling of uneasiness this side, that side. Listening to all the symptoms, the consequences, listening to all the consequences, you are going to point your finger towards a problem. You say, Asha, all this is because of so and so. It's because of some infection, some fever, etc., etc. Then, after you have diagnosed the problem, you try to find the reasons for it. You will ask the patient, did you go here? Did you go there? Did you do this? Did you do that? Did you eat anything from outside? So you are trying to find the reasons. Or then when you know the reasons, you know the problem, you know the reasons, now you suggest some solution. You suggest some medicine, and that medicine is the solution. And after taking your suggestion, the patient starts feeling better. Okay, so this is how it goes, isn't it? Are you all there, or everyone went to sleep?
Here, ma'am. We are here.
Here, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
There, ma'am.
Okay. Now, I'm going to the poem now. I don't want my children to see the earth die, where fishes don't swim and birds don't fly, with no air for breathing, no water to drink, when global conditions will make the land sink. The writer says, I don't want such a horrible tomorrow for my children, a tomorrow where there would be the earth would be dead, this planet would be dead. That future, when she says my children, she doesn't only mean only her biological children. She means the future generations. She says, I don't want these future generations to inherit a planet which is dead, where fishes don't swim and birds don't fly. Indication of, a dead planet where there will be no air for breathing or there is no water to drink. And when global conditions will make the land sink. So she says, I don't want the future generations to inherit this kind of a dead planet. जहाँ पर, you know, fishes don't swim in water, birds don't fly in the sky, there's no air to breathe, there's no water to drink. And all this is going to happen when global conditions will make the land sink. The global conditions will make the land sink means because of the rise or the increase in the global temperature, what's happening? What's happening?
Is affected.
Huh?
Nature get affected, ma'am.
Nature gets affected. In what way? Because of the increase in global temperatures, the ice caps are melting. The ice caps on the mountains are melting. And this is resulting in the increase in the ocean levels every year. And because of the continuous increase in the ocean levels, there is a danger. Already, some of the islands have submerged in water. And there is a danger that one day these oceans will again cover the entire land. So she says, I don't want that to happen to my future generations. I don't want emissions to stay in the air, to fill our lungs and to spread everywhere. She says, I don't want these emissions, the you know carbon emissions from all our automobiles, air conditioners, refrigerators, etc., etc., all the electronic gadgets. They all emit CFCs, chlorofluorocarbons, right? So she says, I don't want, and these emissions, what are they doing? These emissions are uh, thinning the ozone layer. These carbon emissions are thinning down the ozone layer, and as a result, the harmful radiations from the sun are now reaching the surface of the earth. They should have been filtered actually by the ozone covering, the ozone blanket on our around our planet. God had created a safety blanket. But because of our own actions, because of excessive carbon emissions, this blanket is now becoming, porous. Holes are being created in this blanket. And from those holes, the harmful radiations from the sun are now able to penetrate and reach the surface of the earth, causing various problems from skin allergies to cancers to increased temperatures, increased temperatures on the earth. And that is leading to increased levels of the sea. And that is leading to submergence of many areas of land. So this is a kind of a chain of events. Every step having very serious consequences. So she says, I don't want emissions to stay in the air. I don't want these emissions to stay in the air. I don't want the air to be polluted to such an extent that it should become difficult to breathe. Now, if you all know, if you all read, papers a little bit, Delhi is the most polluted city in India. Pollution. The problem of pollution in Delhi is so serious that government constantly keeps trying various methods to contain uh, or to control the population. Sorry, the pollution, air pollution especially. You might have heard about the odd even method. Did you hear the odd even method? That means the chief minister of Delhi gave one suggestion that everybody should not move with their private vehicle all the time. One day, all the private vehicles with registration number, I mean, the odd registration numbers will move on the road. The next day, all the vehicles with even registration numbers should move out. So ऐसा करके they try to control the number of vehicles moving on the roads in order to at least try and see if that could contain pollution. Now, I don't want emissions to stay in the air, to fill our lungs and to spread everywhere. She says, if these emissions are there in the air around us, when we breathe the air, when we breathe air, those emissions will enter our body, and then they will spoil or they will affect our lungs to cause global warming, submerging the land. And she says these emissions also have other far-reaching impacts, far-reaching effects. They will cause global warming, and that will again lead to submergence of land. Nature is dying together with us. We wouldn't exist here but for the green grass. We must prevent nature from saying farewell. If it dies, we die as well. So, in the third para, she is trying to show the consequences. She's trying to show, okay, what has happened. See, in the first stanza, she showed us the problem. In the second stanza, she talked about the reason. Now, in the third stanza, she's trying to show us what has happened as a result of this. What has happened? Nature is dying today. Nature is dying, she says. And she says, if nature dies, we cannot live. And maybe the rate at which nature is dying would have killed all of us by now. The only thing that is keeping us alive are those little blades of grass. But for, we wouldn't exist here but for the green grass. Now she makes a very important point here, children. See, whenever man wants, they will cut down the trees mindlessly. A fully grown tree, which takes 60 to 70 or sometimes 100 years to grow to its full size, is cut down within 10 minutes. So in this way, we cut down, we don't mind, we don't feel even for a second before cutting down trees that it will take another 100 years for another tree to take its place. So he says, अगर यही चलता रहता तो, and with our mindless attitude of cutting down, felling the trees for our benefit, you want to encroach into the forests, you want to construct buildings somewhere, you cut down all the trees. You encroach into the forest because you want to convert that forest land into agricultural land, you cut down all the trees. तो इस तरह माइंडलेसली ट्रीज को कट करते रहते हैं कि अगर ऐसा ही चलता रहता तो बाय नाउ this planet would have been dead. This, I mean, all the people living on this planet, the inhabitants of this planet would have been already gone and extinct. But what has kept us alive? These little green grass, which is very, very small compared to a fully grown up tree. Just try to imagine a fully grown mango tree, neem tree, or a banyan tree. और फिर इमेजिन कि उसके कंपैरिजन में व्हाट इज द साइज एंड नेचर ऑफ ग्रास, घास जो बहुत जल्दी से उग जाती है और ऐसे ही जल्दी जो है झुलस भी जाती है, एंड इट डाइज आल्सो इक्वली इजीली. एंड ही सेज कि वो झाड़, दोस ट्रीज वर क्रिएटेड बाय गॉड टू प्रोटेक्ट अस, बिकॉज यू नो व्हाट आर द एडवांटेजेस ऑफ ट्रीज. Trees give us not only fruits, they help us in many ways. The leaves of the trees act as carbon soaks, they act as sponges. They absorb the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and then convert it into oxygen, okay, and give out fresh oxygen. Then the roots of these trees, they hold the soil together, thereby preventing soil erosion. And they also help to keep the soil loose, thereby ensuring that when rain falls, the water gets absorbed into the soil and increase the water table. तो ये these are the advantages of all these trees. लेकिन जब काम होता है, and when we have to cut down a tree, we don't think about all this. We only think, अरे यहाँ पर बहुत दिनों से खड़ा हुआ है, जगह ले रहा है, तो इसको काट दो, उसके बजाय यहाँ पर कुछ और बनाएंगे, कुछ और रखेंगे. So this way mindlessly we cut down the trees. और अगर यही चलता रहता तो by now we would have been extinct. लेकिन जिस चीज ने हमको बचा के रखा है, something that has helped us to survive is nothing, is not those big trees, but this humble little grass, जिसने शायद अभी तक दुनिया को या इस प्लैनेट को क्रैश होने नहीं दिया, डेड होने नहीं दिया. The little blades of grass. So the poet is trying to make this comparison to show you कि भाई ग्रास की हकीकत ही क्या होती है. आप उसको खुदल के गुजर जाते हैं, राइट? यू स्टैम्प ऑन इट, यू जस्ट वॉक ऑन इट. उसको आप खुदल देते हैं पैरों से, लेकिन उसी ग्रास ने आपको जिंदा रखा है. दिस इज व्हाट द राइटर वांट्स टू शो यू. ओके, आर यू गेटिंग द पॉइंट? We wouldn't exist here but for the green grass. It is all because of that green grass, जिसके ऊपर आप आराम से चलते फिरते हैं, जिसको खुंदलते हैं, रौंदते हैं अपने पैरों तले. But that grass has managed to keep you alive by at least trying its best to absorb as much carbon dioxide as it can and supply some fresh oxygen. Then she says, now she points out to another consequence. She says, we must prevent nature from dying, from saying farewell. If it dies, we die as well. Then she says, you see, it is very important to stop nature from dying. If nature says farewell, if nature dies, we all are going to die as well. Then now she shows us the reasons. क्यों हुआ ये सब कुछ? Why did all this happen? She says, what could human beings' activities mean? Turn the page. I'm on page 98. What could human beings' activities mean to make our planet one big rubbish bin? No matter that you may only be a teen, you may be only a teen. It's never too early or late to go green. So she says, see, all this has happened not by itself, but because of human activity. Otherwise, God had created everything in perfect balance, in perfect harmony. Everything had its place on this planet. In fact, in the entire universe, everything had its place. हर एक को अपनी अपनी जगह पैदा किया गया था. But it is human nature that we want to encroach into the space of others and thereby cause destruction to everyone around us, whether it is plants or animals or our fellow human beings, anyone. And what did we do? What else did we do? To make our planet one big rubbish bin, we made our planet literally a dustbin. See, you read about Everest, you find that every year, when these mountaineers, they plan an expedition on the Everest, they leave behind so much of trash. Now the government has made it mandatory that all the trash has to be brought down by the mountaineers themselves. Otherwise, penalties imposed on them. Otherwise, ab tak kya hota tha previously? These mountaineers, for the sake of their expeditions, they used to go and then they used to pollute the entire peak, throwing away all the leftovers. So it had become, the trash had increased so much that it was affecting the climatic conditions of the Everest. Separate special teams had to go and collect the trash from above and get it down. Uske baad, the government made it mandatory. Okay? You should not throw any trash on the Everest. I'm just giving you one example. In the same way, what do you say? This one. Plastic waste disposal. When we initially invented plastic, we thought that we have invented a very effective substitute for metals, a substitute which is lightweight, durable, and of course, far cheaper than metal. Man was very happy with this invention. But man did not realize that one day this plastic is going to become the biggest problem. Today, plastic waste disposal is the biggest problem the world is facing. Case plastic का क्या करें? The amount of plastic coming out every day, discarded every day. अब अगर आप छोटा सा एग्जाम्पल लें, if you take a small example and see कि अगर सपोज आपके पास कोई चेयर टूट गई हो, आप उसको छत पे फेंक देते हैं, राइट? वो 1 साल पड़ी रहती है, 2 साल पड़ी रहती है, 4-5 साल हो जाते हैं धूप में, it becomes totally colorless or the color fades away. But does it degenerate? Does it break down? It might become hard, it might become brittle, it might become even more damaged because of being continuously exposed to sun. But do you find that the chair starts decomposing one day? Never. So this is the example of only one chair that is discarded in our home. अब ऐसा ही जो है, every day hundreds of plastic items are being discarded, starting from your kitchen where you throw away all those plastic bags. हर चीज प्लास्टिक बैग्स में लाते हैं, फिर प्लास्टिक बैग्स को फेंकते हैं. अब वो कचरे वाला भी अगर जमा करके ले जाता है तो क्या करता है वो ले जाके? Your computer or your laptop has to be changed, it has a plastic body. Your car has to be changed, it has plastic body. Your air conditioner has a plastic body. Your cooler has a plastic fiber body. Your washing machine has a fiber body. Your dishwasher has a fiber body. Your cooking range has a fiber body. और ये जब सब चीजें खराब होती हैं तब इनको फेंक देते हैं आप, तो what happens to those things, discarded things? They remain as it is. कचरे के डंप में ऐसे ही पड़े रहते हैं for years and years and years and years together. जबकि कोई natural या the so called what we call as biodegradable, जो biodegradable things होते हैं, they degenerate, they decompose, take another form, thereby help us again. तो बायोडिग्रेडेबल चीजें हमने यूज करना छोड़ दी और प्लास्टिक को हमने अपना लिया. और उसके बाद नाउ वी आर सीइंग दैट द प्रॉब्लम ऑफ प्लास्टिक के प्लास्टिक डिस्पोजल, प्लास्टिक वेस्ट डिस्पोजल हैज बिकम द ग्रेटेस्ट चैलेंज फॉर अस. अगर आप उसको समंदर में भी फेंको ना, वहां भी वो वैसे ही रहता है. And it is affecting the aquatic life, it is affecting the ecosystem, the ecological balance there in the seas. So this is what the writer is trying to point out. She says we have made our planet a big dustbin, and now we only have the junk to throw into it. No matter that you may only be a teen, it's never too early or late to go green. And then she says, see, it is your duty also. Now, don't sit and simply discuss the problem as we are doing now, you and me. We are discussing the seriousness of the problem. We are aware that there is a problem. But then what are you going to do, Asra madam and all her children? You will only sit and discuss in the classroom and then forget about it the minute you finish your class? The writer says, no, madam. No, we all have to do something. Don't wait for others to do it. ये उन लोगों का काम है. हम बैठ के सिर्फ कमेंट्स करते हैं, राइट? मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम्स हम करते हैं, अरे क्या है भाई, इतना गंदा है रोड पे, सो मेनी, क्या बोलते, so much of dirt and dust. What do you do yourself about it? So she says, no matter that you may only be a teen, No doubt, you all might be only teenagers now, but she says you also can contribute your part in saving our planet. And what is that? She says even if you are a teenager, it's never too early. और इफ यू आर एन ओल्ड पर्सन, अब टीनेजर्स बोलेंगे भाई हम तो टीनेजर है, अभी तो हमको पढ़ना है, वी हैव टू डू अ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स, देन हम सोचेंगे क्या करना चाहिए इस प्लैनेट को बचाने के लिए. बूढ़े लोग कहेंगे अरे भाई हम तो बूढ़े हो गए, हम क्या कर सकते हैं. तो फिर हु इज गोइंग टू डू? द राइटर सेज it is never too early or late to go green. There lies the solution. भाई डॉक्टर के पास आए, डॉक्टर ने देखा, प्रॉब्लम को समझा, अब आपको दवाई दी जा रही है. एंड दवाई क्या है? व्हाट इज द मेडिसिन? व्हाट इज द मेडिसिन?
Avoid plastic.
हाँ, go green is the medicine. Go green. Go green means it is never too early or late to go green. What do we mean by go green?
Using natural things.
To plant the trees and
Exactly.
trees to cut down.
Start planting trees. Now you might say, Madam, I live in a 2-bedroom flat. Where do I plant trees? So what the writer is trying to tell you, and I am also trying to tell you is, see, आप लड़के हैं तो कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. Buy one indoor plant. आजकल ऑनलाइन इंडोर प्लांट्स मिलते हैं. Order one indoor plant. Keep it somewhere in your favorite corner, in beside your bed or on your table, या कोई कॉरिडोर में, कहीं भी ड्राइंग रूम में, जहां भी जगह हो, खूबसूरत जगह, कोई अच्छी जगह, वहां पर उसको रख दीजिए. एवरी डे मेक इट अ पॉइंट टू टेक केयर ऑफ दैट. उसको पानी डालना है, उसको उसकी प्रूनिंग करना है. ट्रीट दैट प्लांट एज योर चाइल्ड. अगर ऐसा हर आदमी करने लगेगा तो एटलीस्ट इफ देयर आर 5 members in your family, there will be 5 trees in your house. And these 5 trees will make sure that all the carbon dioxide in your flat is absorbed properly, and it is replaced with oxygen, because plants release oxygen as a result of what? Photosynthesis. So आपकी ऑक्सीजन सप्लाई जो है खुद ब खुद फ्रेश होती रहेगी. ठीक है. तो if it's a very simple solution, she says it's very simple. Don't wait for others to do it. उन्हों करना चाहिए, वो उनका काम है, नहीं, ये हम सबका काम है. So today only all of you order order online one indoor plant, whichever plant you like. Go for a plant that requires the least amount of maintenance. और फिर उस प्लांट को अपने घर में रखो. It will make a lot of difference. अगर ऐसा आपके घर में 5-6 प्लांट्स हो गए, आपके नेबर के पास 5-6 प्लांट्स हो गए, उनके बाजू में 5-6 प्लांट्स हो गए, in the entire building there will be around 40-50 plants, and that will immediately change the ecosystem of the entire building. Do you understand? So that she says you have to start immediately. To show our nature the beauty of life, to help polar bears and pandas survive, to claim to the world that this dog should gain weight, let's firstly take part in the global debate. She says, if at all we want to keep this planet alive and to show to our future generations, to your own children, see, you are the age of my children. Okay. So, आप लोगों ने देख लिया, मतलब है कि मेरे बच्चों ने देख लिया ये planet. अब आपके बच्चों को भी तो दिखाना है. So keep this planet alive for your generations, for your future generations. And she says, so first take some practical action, then also participate in any kind of activity, in any kind of global debate. जहां भी मुमकिन हो सके, try to create awareness among the people about the need to preserve our planet. Thereby, you will make a very big contribution to the, you know, to the preservance of this earth, which is our base, which is very essential for our survival. So this was the poem Climate Change by Julia Melnikova. In some of the textbooks, the writer's name is not mentioned, but later on in the workbook, it is given. Julia Melnikova is the name of the writer, the poet of this poem. Okay. So inshallah, see you all tomorrow, same time. But boys, I see that you keep joining one by one, or some of you joining at 8:40 also, at 15, 8:20 also. What sense does it make, boys? When I have started my class long before, and you join towards the end, you will be missing a major part of it. Okay, so see you all, inshallah, tomorrow, same time.